Thursday, January 19th, reading lesson. Our objective today is I can use my knowledge of compound words and abbreviations in order to spell words. Since we didn't have school yesterday, today's lesson is going to be a typical Monday lesson where we go over our word sort words, vocabulary, and introduce the story for the week. So our word sort words this week are compound words and abbreviations. Compound words are two words combined together to create a new meaning. So take the word daytime, for example. The word day and the word time are words when they are separated, but when we combine them together, it creates a new word with a different meaning. Some of our word sort words are also abbreviations, and these are shortened forms of words. For example, RD period is the abbreviation for road. We are now on Module 7, which means for the next 3 weeks, we will have this essential question to think about as we look through our story. The essential question for Module 7 is, how can one person make a meaningful difference in their local or global community? So let's take a look at the vocabulary words first, so that way when we come across them while we're reading the story, we understand what they mean. The first word we have is scarce. If something is scarce, there is very little of it. Next, we have greenhouses. Greenhouses are glass buildings that are used to grow plants and flowers. Pollution is harmful or poisonous material in the air, water, and ground. Crowded means when a space is filled and there's no room left for anything else in that space. Vats are large tanks or tubs that can hold water or other liquids. Vertical means that something is standing tall or pointing upward. Factories are large buildings where things are built or made by people and machines. So next we have our vocabulary strategy for the week, which is analogies. An analogy is a comparison between two sets of words. Each set of words has a similar relationship. Sometimes these word sets are synonyms or antonyms. When the words are synonyms, they have similar meanings. When the words are antonyms, they have opposite meanings. So this first example here says, cold as to chilly is as wonderful is to blank. So I know that cold and chilly are synonyms, so this means that I need to put a synonym for wonderful in this blank here. I'm going to use the word amazing. You could have also used the word great, fabulous, awesome. Any of those would work. But using your knowledge of synonyms and antonyms with analogies comes in handy here with this strategy. Next, I have nervous is to calm as full is to blank. I know that nervous and calm are opposites, meaning they're antonyms, so I need an opposite for full here, so I would use the word empty in this analogy example. We'll work more with analogies later this week during language arts as well. The suffix study we have this week is the suffix ion. So remember, suffixes are word parts added to the end of a base word, and it changes the meaning of that word. The suffix ion means an act, result, or state of being. The suffix ion changes a word into the noun. So for example, here we have the verb pollute, but if we add ion onto that verb, we get the word pollution, which is a noun. Next, we have the verb create, but when we add ion onto that verb, it becomes creation, and now we have a noun. Same with the verb collaborate. If we add this suffix ion onto collaborate, we get collaboration. So not only does the suffix change the meaning of the word here, but it also changes its part of speech. Our story this week is called Farmer Will Allen and the Growing Table, and this is a biography. A biography is the story of a real person's life written by someone other than that person. Authors of biographies present events in order. They may organize their ideas using headings, and they may also include illustrations that show important events in a person's life. If you have your book handy, you can follow along as I play the story. If not, it's no big deal. You can just continue to watch the video. But as you listen, I want you to think to yourself how the people in the story made a difference in their community. So, like I said, it's called Farmer Will Allen and the Growing Table. So let's listen to the story.
Farmer Will Allen. Farmer Will Allen is as tall as his truck. He can hold a cabbage or a basketball in one hand. When he laughs, everyone laughs, glad to be in his crew. When he talks, everyone listens. But some say the special thing about Will Allen is that he can see what others can't see. Are they right? When he looked at an abandoned city lot and saw a huge table heaped with food, was he right? The kitchen table. When Will Allen was a boy, bowls of peas, greens, and his favorite, lima beans with ham, covered the kitchen table. My mother often fixed enough food for 30, Will says. We never had a car or a TV, but we always had good food. He remembers people who'd come to dinner, tired and drooped, and leave laughing. Will's family grew most of their food. Will loved the food, but hated the work. He planned to quit on planting, picking, pulling weeds, leave those Maryland fields for basketball or white shirt work. And he did. He graduated from college and moved to Belgium to play professional basketball. When a Belgian friend asked him to help dig potatoes, Will realized he loved digging in the dirt. He grew so much food that he and his wife Cindy covered their kitchen table with Thanksgiving dinner for a team of basketball friends. A new kind of farm. When Will was done with basketball, he worked a white shirt job in Wisconsin and found time to grow vegetables on Cindy's parents' land. But Will wanted his own place. He'd seen that fresh vegetables were as scarce in the city as trout in the desert. Will believed everyone, everywhere, had a right to good food. Scarce. If something is scarce, there is very little of it. But how could Will farm in the middle of pavement and parking lots? One day, driving in Milwaukee, Will spotted 6 empty greenhouses on a plot of land about the size of a large supermarket for sale. He could see kids who'd never eaten a ripe tomato, never crunched a raw green bean, sitting at his table, eating his vegetables. Will Allen bought that city lot. The dirty soil. Will had a start on his table. He had the land, but the table was empty. The problem was Will's soil, dirty with chemicals and pollution. He had no money for machines to dig out the bad soil, for truckloads of good soil. What to do? In Belgium, Will had learned to make good soil with food garbage. They called it composting. But he needed lots of garbage. He asked his friends to save food waste, apple peels to old zucchinis. Will collected those scraps in big white buckets and dumped them into piles. He added hay, leaves, newspapers, red wiggler worms, water. Every now and then, he turned the piles to get air into the mix. Neighborhood kids stopped by to ask what he was doing. Will told them about the piles and the red wiggler worms that would help the garbage become compost. The kids came back day after day to help. Pollution. Pollution is harmful or poisonous material in the air, water, and ground. Red wiggler worms. Then one day, bad news. The Red Wiggler crew was dying. Will and the kids studied worms for 5 years. They learned not to feed the worms too much, and they discovered the best menu for red wigglers. No hot peppers, onions, garlic. Lots of watermelon rinds, sweet potato scraps, molasses. Since then, the squirmy crew has stayed hard at work. Will says worm magic is what makes his farm grow.
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulty.
Making a bigger table, growing power. Once Will had good soil, he was ready to plant vegetables. But he didn't have much space. How could he grow enough food on a small city plot? Will Allen looked around. He saw that he had all the space from the soil under his feet to the top of the greenhouses. He hung plant baskets from the ceiling. He grew greens in buckets, greens in rows. He crowded shelves with pots of spinach, chard, lettuce. He grew stacks of tiny salad sprouts in boxes, hundreds of boxes. Will added hoop houses to hold more boxes and more long rows of vegetables. He added vats of water and fish to his greenhouses. Fish wastewater grows the sprouts. The sprouts clean the water for the fish. Fish, water, sprouts work together like a three-part farm machine. He added goats, chickens, turkeys, and bees to that city farm he named Growing Power. Finding farmers. Farmer Will's work clothes are jeans and a blue sweatshirt with cut-off sleeves. He's busy from early morning to night. Still, one person could never grow all the food Will wanted to grow. Where could he find more farmers in the middle of the city? Will Allen looked around. He saw teenagers, schoolchildren, parents, grandparents. He taught them to be farmers. Then, Will's table held as much as several supermarkets, thousands of pounds of food. Neighbors who live in high-rises, far off the growing ground, came and still come to Will's farm to buy fresh vegetables, fish, or eggs. People have gone and still go to fancy restaurants to eat Will's food. But Will wanted his table to feed folks all over the world. How could he build one huge table that crossed continents, growing power around the world? Will thought about the problem of the world-sized table. He looked around and saw his many helpers who learned to be farmers. He would teach people everywhere to grow food for their own tables. Will Allen began to travel. He has crisscrossed the United States showing others how to farm in the city, and he has taken his red wigglers to Kenya, to London, all over the world. The world has also come to his Milwaukee farm. 20,000 visitors a year tour the greenhouses, watch goats, snack on greens, and go home planning to start a farm on a city lot, rooftop, or abandoned highway. Will and the 50 million. Is Will Allen done? Never. We need 50 million more people growing food on porches, in pots, inside yards, he says. Will is always looking for new ways to make the table bigger. More schoolyard plots, a vertical farm that's 5 stories high, farms in empty factories or warehouses. Will Allen dreams of a day when city farms are as common as streetlights and every table is covered with good food. Your table. Will Allen can see what others can't see. When he sees kids, he sees farmers. Will you be on Will Allen's crew? Will you grow vegetables for your family, your neighbors, on your porch or roof or yard? How big will your table be?
So our exit ticket is on Edulastic and it's related to our WordSort words for the week. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll be back tomorrow with another reading lesson.